people of medieval Europe called it the Great Pestilence. A terrifying and bewildering sickness from the east which brought delirium and an agonizing death. Fear and hysteria gripped the land, and as the death toll mounted, it became apparent that no one was safe and no one could offer protection. As the sickness raced across Europe, communities struggled simply to bury their dead. And they sought answers, someone to blame, or a means to appease God's wrath. This was the Black Death, the greatest biological disaster in the history of mankind. To those engulfed by the madness and death, it seemed the end of the world. At the dawn of the 14th century, medieval Europe is riding a long streak of prosperity.
Europe has had 3, maybe 4 centuries of really good times. The church has been strong, various kingdoms have been strong, trade has grown, cities have grown, industry has grown, there haven't been any natural catastrophes, weather's been nice, population's been growing. It's really been a nice time for Europe.
But unknowingly, Europe stands on the brink of its greatest crisis. Suddenly, there is a subtle shift in the climate as temperatures fall. Europe's overstretched resources fail. There is famine and war. The Golden Age has ended, and a more dreadful reality confronts the continent.
The 4 horsemen of the apocalypse have come. Famine hits, plague hits, war is all over, and death is all over.
In the 1340s, war ravages the continent. The deepening crisis hits peasants hard, but there were some who thrived on warfare. Edward III has ruled England for 20 years. Now he seeks to enforce his claim on the throne of France and leads an army into Normandy. He wins a spectacular victory at Crécy before wresting control of Calais from his rival Philip VI of France. Edward controls a sizable portion of France, but his early advantage will only lead to a protracted war.
This is the beginning of the 100 Years' War, and which is really a world war as far as the Europeans are concerned. It involves everywhere: Spain, Germany, Italy, France, England.
King Edward promises his daughter Joan to Pedro, the Prince of Spanish Castile. Like most royal marriages in medieval Europe, it is not a match born out of love, but of diplomatic ambition. For a marriage between the 2 royal families will secure Edward III a powerful ally in his war against the King of France. Barely into her teens, Joan has never met her fiancé, nor has she ever been to Spain. Like any young girl, Joan hopes her father has chosen a handsome prince, perhaps even a kind one. "400 miles to the south, in Avignon, France, the 6th, God's representative on earth, considers his own prospects. For more than 1,000 years, the Holy Catholic Church has been the center of religious authority in Europe.
The religion of a medieval person was their life. It surrounded them. They thought nothing of going to church every day. Their life consisted of a lot of blessings which they attributed to God, and cursings which they kind of attributed to God too, although they blamed it on their sins. So their whole life was enveloped in this religious atmosphere.